Hey guys, what's up? So this is the new A16 iPad, and at a starting price of $349, it is the cheapest iPad in the current lineup, and as an entry-level iPad, this thing makes a lot of sense. But when you start adding things like this, or even this, it becomes a bit of a strange package and kind of a hard sell. Nevertheless, it did get a few meaningful upgrades over the last model, so how good is Apple's new 2025 entry-level iPad really? Is it worth buying, or should you just skip it and look at something like an iPad Air instead? Let's ramble.
Hold up, things go wild when I pull up. They all on me like it wants.
Right, so before we take a closer look at what's new about this iPad and whether it's a good purchase in 2025, let's unbox this thing really quick, as well as the Magic Keyboard Folio. This is the 128GB model because I do believe this is the model that makes the most sense to buy, but we'll get back to that in a minute. It really doesn't matter what Apple device it is, tearing off that paper will never not be satisfying to me. I picked the yellow one again. I reviewed the same color in 2022 and I still think it's the best looking color now. We have some documentation, no stickers, but I guess we've all come to accept that Apple stickers are a thing of the past. Even expensive Macs do not come with stickers anymore. It does come with a braided USB-C cable, but no power brick, at least not here in the EU. Right, let's put that aside for now and have a look at the Magic Keyboard Folio. It looks roughly the same as the 2022 model. It still connects via these smart connector pins, which the iPad has on the side or the bottom, depending on how you look at it. But there are in fact some differences between the new Magic Keyboard Folio and the 2022 version. This 2025 model features a more refined design with improved key travel, and it's supposed to have a sturdier hinge mechanism and stronger magnets, so it snaps onto the iPad easier. It also supports new software features like haptic feedback for key press and better integration with iPadOS. The 2025 version also comes with improved battery efficiency, which I guess means it will drain the iPad's battery a little slower. So technically, I guess this would be the 11th gen iPad, but Apple's just calling it the A16 model. It doesn't mention iPad 11 anywhere, so I guess we'll stick with that as well. Another change in the naming convention is that Apple is now calling it an 11-inch screen instead of a 10.9-inch screen, even though the resolution is the exact same as the previous model at 2360 by 1640. So the 11-inch thing really is just a marketing thing, no real changes. Staying on the display for a minute, that is definitely still the weakest link on this device in my opinion. It's a 60Hz display, which is a bit disappointing in 2025, and it's still sitting at only 500 nits, which isn't a lot either, especially outdoors. You're gonna have trouble seeing anything on this screen. Now, I could have looked past the low refresh rate and the low brightness, but this screen has another major drawback that I personally find far more frustrating, and that is the non-laminated display. It is the only iPad that doesn't have a laminated display, which makes it look and feel really dated. Not to mention the glare it produces as soon as there's any kind of light source, whether it's outside or inside. As you can imagine here in the studio, I'm surrounded by lights, and it's really not that easy to find an angle where there's actually no glare on this display. If you put it next to an iPad Air or Pro, you'll immediately see the difference, especially when there's a lot of black on the screen. So if you're a dark mode kind of person, you're gonna have to deal with a lot of reflections. Now, I don't want this video to sound like I'm just bashing on this device. It definitely has a couple of things going for it as well. First of all, the jump from the A14 Bionic to the A16 chip is a significant upgrade that you should be able to notice in everyday use. Everything should feel a bit snappier, although strangely there's only 5 CPU cores now as opposed to 6 cores on the previous model. It has 6GB of RAM, which is the lowest amount of RAM on any current iPad, but that should be sufficient for everyday tasks and even some gaming as well. The Air and the Pro models both start at 8GB of RAM because those models are typically bought by users that need the extra power, and it's probably also necessary to be able to run Apple Intelligence, which the A16 iPad does not do. So if you were looking forward to using those features, this is probably not the iPad for you. I'm also very happy to see that they got rid of the 64GB option, and that was long overdue in my opinion. And just like the previous model, it comes with Touch ID on the power button, and it still has 2 speakers. I know it's a bit confusing because there are 4 speaker grills, but when we grab a piece of magnet paper, you'll see that only 2 of those grills are actually populated with speakers. So yeah, you're getting an upgraded device with a better chip and more internal storage for the same base price of $349. And that is the configuration and the price that makes a lot of sense to me. If you're looking for an iPad for everyday use, check your emails, do some web browsing, watch a bit of content, play some games, and you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money, the base model A16 iPad is actually a very attractive option. Now, you can of course start decking this thing out if you want. It's compatible with both the first gen and the USB-C Apple Pencil, and you can add the Magic Keyboard Folio to it. But that will make this setup very expensive very quickly, and at that point I would definitely consider looking at an iPad Air instead, or checking out some more affordable accessories. Adding Apple's Magic Keyboard Folio and a USB-C Apple Pencil will cost you almost as much as the actual iPad. And I'm sure a lot of people that are interested in this entry-level iPad aren't typically looking to spend an arm and a leg on accessories as well. And that is where today's sponsor ESR comes in, offering 3 accessories to completely deck out your new iPad with solid products, but at a much friendlier cost. The ESR Flip magnetic case with a dedicated slot for your pencil has a multi-angle design for all your viewing and creative needs. It's super sturdy on any surface, and the triangle fold design offers that same stability for vertical browsing as well. To protect the iPad's glass surface, I would recommend adding a good screen protector. Applying a screen protector can be a bit of a pain in the neck, but ESR's Ultra Fit system makes it incredibly easy, and the dust removal strip ensures instant bubble and dust-free application. The ESR Geo Digital Pencil is almost too good to be true. The shortcut button makes it super easy to connect via Bluetooth, and showing real-time battery life. It features palm rejection, tilt sensitivity, and a 1.5mm tip for detailed writing and drawing. And it fully charges in just 30 minutes. Oh, and this pencil actually works with Apple Find My, so you don't have to worry about losing it either. But the real kicker is the price of only $22.99, which means you can get this entire setup for around the same price as a single Apple Pencil. Sounds like a pretty sweet deal to me. If you want to check these out for yourself, there will be links in the description below the video. In terms of connectivity, this iPad still has Wi-Fi 6, no Wi-Fi 6E or Wi-Fi 7, and it does not come equipped with Apple's new C1 modem. Now, we haven't talked about these cameras yet. There's improved sensors and better low light performance, but the actual cameras are the same. It's got the 12 megapixel wide camera on the back, just a single camera, no LiDAR. Of course, it's not going to be the best camera, but it will be fine for a quick snap, scanning documents, or maybe even snapping a picture of some slides during a lecture or a presentation. I do appreciate that Apple kept the front-facing camera on the long edge of the iPad, which is much better for video calls in my opinion. It's the same 12 megapixel landscape camera. It's good enough for video calls, and it does support center stage if you like using that, but of course don't expect amazing image quality out of this thing. So who's this iPad for? I think it's a fantastic option for casual users who don't want to spend an arm and a leg, who just want an iPad to do a bit of browsing, watch some videos, play some games. If you're into emulators, this could also be a very nice option. It's also a great first iPad for your kids. I bought my daughter the iPad 9 some years ago, and she still loves it. She uses it every single day to play Minecraft and stuff. I think these iPads are also great for education. If you're a school and you need to buy a bunch of iPads, this is the one to look at. And of course, if you're a student on a budget and you need a device to take to class with you, do your assignments on, this is also a perfectly solid option. But as soon as you start upgrading the storage or you start adding expensive Apple accessories, it's really difficult to look at this thing as a budget option. And at that point, you might as well look into a more powerful iPad Air model or even a refurbished Pro model. Let me know in the comments what you think. If the video was useful, please give it one of these. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one.